What is up, you guys? We are back with a great film again, and today's movie starts in the near future where the line between humans and machines is disappearing and advancements in technology have allowed humans to enhance themselves with cybernetic parts. Hanka Robotics, funded by the government, is developing a military cyborg by transplanting a human brain into a fully synthetic body, which will combine the strongest attributes of human and robot. The movie opens with Mira, a woman that's just been in a terrorist attack. Her body couldn't survive, but her brain was still alive. And Hanka's scientist, Dr. Wallet, is able to take out her brain and put it in a cyborg body. The operation was successful, saving Mira's life, and for the first time, Hanka just created a fully human and machine hybrid. Hanka Robotics CEO Cutter watches as the process is completed and sends Mira to Section 9, an anti-terrorist division, as this new creation will make him millions. Dr. Wallet is not happy by this decision, but she's completely powerless to effect change. We are then taken to a year later, where Mira has become a major in the force. We follow her as she monitors a Hanka representative, Dr. Osman, and an African ambassador making a deal for new tech. Mira is receiving her orders from Section 9 Chief Aramaki and works alongside Batu. In the meeting, several geisha bots, which are servant bots, start to attack the people in the room. One of the geisha bots hacks into Dr. Osman's neck and kills him, and as this is happening, Mira jumps into the building and kills off most of the bots, but she wasn't able to save Dr. Osman. She shoots off the geisha bot, but before she does, the bot says cooperate with Hanka Robotics and be destroyed. Later, the Section 9 team meets up with Aramaki to discuss the attack. They learn that the geisha bots were hacked by a mysterious man that calls himself Kuze. He also murdered 3 more Hanka scientists that day, and he left the message, cooperate with Hanka Robotics and be destroyed. Aramaki sends Mira and Batu to the forensics lab, and on their way to the lab, Mira reveals that she's been having glitches in her system. She keeps seeing fragmented images once in a while, and it's been distracting her from doing her job well. Mira thinks that it might be memories from her past, as she doesn't remember anything before the accident. They then arrive at Hanka, and Mira visits Dr. Wallet and informs her about her glitches, but Wallet dismisses it quickly, telling her that it's not a big deal. Mira and Batu then go to the lab and meet with Dr. Dalin, who's been examining the geisha bot's body. She's still not able to trace the hacker, and Mira offers to deep dive into the geisha's mind so she can get more information. Dalin warns her that this is very risky, since there could be an implanted virus in the geisha's body, but Mira doesn't listen, and she deep dives into the bot's brain. She finds herself walking through a nightclub with distorted images. She's then grabbed and suffocated by a faceless mob, causing her real body to spasm, forcing Batu to pull her out of the connection. When she gets back, Mira tells them that she knows where the nightclub is. And then Mira and Batu go to the nightclub, and they separate as to not be suspicious, and while investigating, Mira is pulled into a room by 2 men who handcuff her and force her to dance by teasing her. Mira tries to call for help, but the room blocks the signal with Batu. Batu, who was at the bar, starts a fight, killing the guards, and Mira also breaks her handcuffs and beats up the men. And then they both go inside this basement, where Mira finds a room, and when she opens it, she sees Kuze in front of her. But when she tries to get close to him, he disappears, and as Batu gets close to the room, Mira notices that it's a trap and she pushes Batu away before a bomb blows up. Batu is saved, but he loses his eyes. Mira's body is also damaged, so they're taken to Hanka, where Batu receives cybernetic eyes, which are more advanced and can do more things, while Mira's body is repaired. Meanwhile, Cutter meets with Aramaki, and he's filled with anger because Aramaki allowed Mira to deep dive, which could have been very dangerous if she was hacked, and this would have lost him millions. You see, Mira is still the only fully human and robot combination, and he needs to experiment with her in order to figure out to make others like her. But Aramaki tells Cutter to be careful who's threatening him, since Aramaki only answers to the Prime Minister and not him. The next day, Kuze breaks into the lab and finds Dr. Dalin alone. He asks her about Project 2571, and when she doesn't tell him the answer, he kills her and leaves. Mira and her team arrive at the scene shortly after, and Mira pulls a drive out of Dalin's hand, which contains the names of other Hanka associates, including Wallet. And from this, Mira figures she's Kuze's next target. Kuze hacks into 2 truck drivers and controls them and crashes them into Wallet's car. She crawls out of the flipped vehicle, but one of the men puts his gun on her and asks her about the same project. Wallet doesn't answer, and just before he shoots her, Mira and her team arrive and stop the men. The main man, Lee, is interrogated by Mira after Kuze's connection is severed. She asks him who Kuze is, but Lee doesn't know anything. He tells her that he went out to get his daughter and doesn't remember anything else. The team figures Kuze implanted a fake memory on Lee, as Lee never really had a daughter and lives alone. Kuze then speaks through Lee to threaten Section 9 before making Lee jump to hang himself. Section 9 agents have traced Kuze's signal while he was talking. Mira and her team travel to the specified location and find an illegal cybernation operation which is being used by Kuze, and the team then kill the guards and move through the building. Mira goes into the dark room and gets ambushed and abducted by Kuze's men. She wakes up shortly after tied up to a machine, and Kuze finally reveals himself and stands before her. He's created a network with other humanoid cyborg bodies which will let him and his team live once their body dies. Kuze releases Mira, and she uses this opportunity to shoot him a few times before stopping when she sees a tattoo that exactly matches her glitches. Kuze reveals that he was a test subject of Hanka's before her, but he was considered a failure and a freak on the account of his deformity, and he tells her that Hanka is not a good company fighting terrorism, but an evil organization that experiments on humans without their consent. Mira is shook by this revelation, but Batu gets there to save her before they could finish talking. Kuze escapes and Mira follows him as Batu watches. Mira then appears in Wallet's bedroom and confronts her about the info that she just got from Kuze, and Wallet confesses and reveals that there were 98 failed experiments before Mira. She also reveals that Mira's memory of surviving a terrorist attack was a fake memory, put there so that she would be motivated to fight terrorists. Wallet tries to explain that Cutter forced her to implant the fake memory, but Mira leaves feeling unconvinced and angry. That night, Batu finds Mira in her usual hiding place. They talk a little, and she asks him to take her back to Hanka. He obliges, and just as they get there, she's taken by Cutter's guards and sedated so that she can't move. Cutter then orders Wallet to terminate Mira, as she's now a liability and could become like Kuze. But Wallet argues and asks just to erase her memory so she can't remember the past few days. But Cutter is not convinced and gives her a serum and orders her to do it herself. Mira figures she's getting killed, but she couldn't do anything to stop it. But Wallet instead gives her an energy serum and releases her with information on an address where she can find out her true identity. Mira then takes the address and runs out beating up all the guards that try to stop her. Cutter then shoots and kills Wallet, but tells Aramaki that Mira did it. And Mira follows the address to what turns out to be her old home. Her mother, who was told that her daughter had died, never believed that, and even though Mira was in a new body, her mother figures out that she's her daughter. As she leaves, Mira calls Aramaki, and he tells her that Wallet is dead, and that Cutter says that she killed her, but he believes her, and he plans to take Cutter into custody. Cutter hacks the comms and hears their conversation, and sends his men to kill Section 9 members, but all of them survive and kill their attackers. Meanwhile, Mira meets with Kuze at a hideout, where she remembered from her past memory which is now coming back to her since she's not taking the medication that Cutter gave her. She remembers that Kuze's real name was Hido, and that they were in a group that didn't want to be cyborgs but forcibly taken and experimented on by Hanka. But before they could talk more, they're interrupted by a missile that's being controlled by Cutter, and the first blow damages Kuze heavily, and Cutter uses a remotely controlled spider tank to finish them off. He gets the upper hand at first, but just before he can kill off Kuze, Mira jumps onto the tank and uses all her strength to destroy the tank, causing her arm and body to rip apart. They then both lie on the ground, and Kuze offers to take her to his system, but she refuses, saying that she's not ready to give up on him yet. But just then, Cutter's snipers ride in a chopper and shoot Kuze on the face and kill him. But here we see that Kuze has jumped off to his system just before they shot him. As the snipers turn to her, Aramaki's men destroy the chopper, and Batu picks her up from the ground. Aramaki then finds Cutter in his office and shoots him once so he can't move, and he contacts Mira and gets her consent to execute Cutter, and then shoots Cutter multiple times and kills him. Sometime later, Mira visits her own grave with her mother, and they agree not to go back there again. And in the last scene, we see Mira as she's on another mission working with Section 9, and the movie ends as she leaps off a building like she's used to. And that is how this awesome movie comes to an end. I hope you guys enjoyed our recaps. Make sure to leave a like, leave a comment, and most of all, subscribe to my channel. I love you all so much, and I promise to see you on my next recap. Bye!